Hello, Travis Simlinger here again from Progressive Coaching in Zurich, Switzerland. And today I've got another cognitive distortion for you, and this is one of the most common distortions, and that is black and white thinking, otherwise known as all or nothing thinking or thinking in extremes. And what this is essentially is when a person sees something as either perfect or it's a complete and utter failure. And this dichotomous thinking or binary thinking is a logical fallacy because in actual fact, there are shades of grey. Somewhere in between is actually true. Just because you don't get 100% doesn't mean that anything less than 100% is 0%. That is not the case. This is not consistent with reality, which is why this is a cognitive distortion. And it's a favorite of perfectionists. Maybe you can, I'm sure you can see why, because they have this perfectionist attitude. And what this does is it can cause them to procrastinate and to lose motivation. An example for example, if you have this all or nothing thinking, then why even start something unless you're 100% certain that you are going to do 100% in this task? Because your thinking dictates that anything less than 100 is a failure. So you've got quite a large chance of feeling a failure. So this holds people back, this distortion. The other thing it can do is it can cause people to quit something just because they're not doing 100%. So it stops them pushing through boundaries. A classic example is someone is on a diet. They've been on a diet for a month or something. They're doing very well. They're getting results. And then one day, while watching Netflix, they eat a couple of chips. And then they say to themselves, my gosh, what have I done? It's a disaster. I've messed up my entire diet. It's all over. It's all over. And they continue to scoff down the entire packet. And they abandon the diet because they didn't do 100%. They failed, is what they tell themselves. When this isn't actually true, is it? They went off course slightly. They can reset the rudder and get back on course. But this all or nothing thinking has led to these outcomes. So, actually, another example that I just thought of. It's a little bit more of a dangerous example, more serious example. So, someone is trying to overcome depression, and they make some progress. They're monitoring their thoughts. They're changing their thoughts. They're sleeping, 8 hours a night now. Before they weren't sleeping, so they're making some progress. But then one day the inevitable happens and they have a bit of a relapse. Some negative thoughts start to take control of their thinking and they spiral down and they have a bad day. And a cognitive distortion, this black and white thinking, can lead them to believe, oh look, I've completely failed. It didn't work. I've tried everything and it didn't work. Okay, not actually true. You were making very good progress. You have had a relapse, which is actually to be expected and is planned for. And the only thing that's going to stop this completely is your cognitive distortion. What needs to happen is to accept the relapse, learn from it, and keep on pushing forwards. That's how we make progress. It makes sense logically, but when you are having this cognitive distortion, you will not notice it. Or many people will not notice it, especially if they haven't been shown this information. And this information is not shown in schools, unfortunately. So you're learning it now. So what you can do is you can learn to capture this. What you won't notice at first is the thought, but you will notice the emotion. And so what you do is you notice the emotion. You're having a negative emotion. Backtrack. What is the thought that is leading me to feel this way? And if you spot, very often it's a cognitive distortion. If you spot this particular distortion, this all or nothing thinking, there are a couple of things you can do about it. The first one is to think in shades of grey instead. For example, you get a C in a maths test and you feel gutted. You feel like your whole life's going to be a failure now. You've messed up everything. How could this happen to you? This is perfectionist attitude. Have a think about this. So what actually happened is you didn't do as well as you wanted to on the test. Okay? That's reality. Does this affect your entire life? No, it doesn't affect your entire life. Why did this happen is a good question. Why did this happen? Was there a reason? Was it because I didn't study hard enough, or I was distracted, or I was tired? What's the actual reason that I didn't achieve the result that I wanted to achieve? Because a good attitude to adopt to help with this distortion is not that we either win or we lose. It's that you might have heard this before, we win or we learn. And that is a much more useful attitude to carry you through challenges and to improve your results instead of quitting when you don't do 100%. The other method is Socratic questioning, which is common to all cognitive distortions, or a common way of overcoming most of the distortions. And what we do there is we think critically. We hold the thought up to logic, and we say, is this thought actually true? So let's say the one with the diet. My diet is completely ruined. Is that actually true? Well, it's only true if we let this cognitive distortion take hold, because it's not actually true. The truth is we went off course. We can get back on course and continue with the diet. So the entire diet is not actually ruined. That is the truth. Okay, we've established the truth. And the truth will set you free, won't it? Or at a bare minimum, it will stop you or reduce negative thinking, and also reduce undesired consequences. So paradoxically, letting go of these incredibly high standards, these irrationally high standards, actually is a higher standard, because it will help you to achieve your desired consequence. It's interesting, isn't it? The other thing that you can do is ask yourself, is this thought actually helping or hindering me? Is this thought helping or hindering me? Is this thought actually true? And if it's not true, what is actually true? Well, what is actually true is I've been doing very well with my diet. I've lost 4 kilos. I've been going to the gym. And today I ate some chips. Wow, what a bad guy I am. Okay, what can I do about it? Well, get back on the diet, okay? Enjoy this time. Maybe even build some time in where you can enjoy yourself a little bit in life. What a concept. But then we get back onto, we're delaying our gratification for the long-term desired consequence that we want. But we're not going to achieve the desired consequence if we hold this rigid black and white thinking. Hope that makes sense, everybody. I hope that if you like that video, you give it a subscribe and a like so that more people can see it. And I'll be back tomorrow with another cognitive distortion. Cheers, everybody.